everyone, quick update. Our One Piece manga review series will be taking a short summer break. But don't worry, we will be back after the summer with even more great content for the post time skip. If you're enjoying the series so far, hit the like button. And with 120 likes, we will make sure something special is on your way. Thank you so much for the support, and now let's get back to the video. What happens after the greatest war shakes the world? When the sea falls silent and the cost of love, loyalty, and loss finally hits. The post-war arc isn't about battles. It's about what's left behind. Grief, growth, and the pieces of a boy broken by the weight of it all. I'll be reviewing Post-Marineford Arc and share my thoughts while reading One Piece for the first time, since the experience, in my opinion, is completely different than watching the anime. So welcome to Post-Marineford, written and illustrated by Eiichiro Oda. Currently in the world of One Piece, Chopper is sent to Torino Kingdom, where he escapes being cooked by the natives, only for them to be attacked by giant birds. Nami arrives on the Sky Island Weatheria and is impressed by the scientists who can control the weather during their meeting. Brook lands on Namakura Island, where a girl is kidnapped by the Long Arms. Shocked by the villagers' apathy, he begins composing a song. And last, Zoro ends up on Kuragana Island with Perona. Despite past conflict, they build a cautious trust as they explore the ruins together before Zoro faces a mysterious swordsman. Post-Marineford Arc, chapters 581 to 597. Flashback to ASL, the bonds that shape us. Before diving into the consequences of Marineford, Oda transports us back to the childhood of Luffy, Ace, and Sabo, the ASL trio, revealing the origins of their unbreakable bond. This backstory is emotionally charged and exquisitely drawn. We see young Luffy and Ace as children marked by innocence, but shaped early by tragedy and hardship. They are no ordinary kids. They carry the weight of their fathers' legacies, dreams, and the looming threats of the cruel world. One of the most striking moments, in my opinion, is when Sabo admonishes Ace with the line, "You got a real bad habit, Ace. How can you refuse to run away when you're against a real pirate?" This line alone is already loaded with so much foreshadowing. It encapsulates Ace's stubborn pride, his refusal to back down despite overwhelming odds, a trait that defines his heroic final moments in Marineford. This moment is a quiet yet powerful hint at Ace's future. His fate is already sealed by a will of steel and loyalty. Luffy's confession, "Because I've got nobody else," is equally heart-wrenching. Here we glimpse the core of Luffy's motivation, the fear of loneliness. This confession isn't just a throwaway line, it's the emotional anchor of his character. Luffy fights not just for glory, but because he refuses to be isolated, to be the only person left standing. This vulnerability humanizes the hero and deepens our empathy for him. Ace, by contrast, craves acknowledgement and love, a brother seeking recognition and purpose beyond the shadow of his father, Goldie Roger. The dynamic between the three boys, each with complementary wounds and needs, forms a tragic yet hopeful foundation for the story. Throughout these chapters, Oda's narration repeatedly emphasizes that these bonds of brotherhood, forged in adversity and shared dreams, are the true heart of One Piece. It reminds us at its core that the series is not just about pirates and adventure. Again, it's about human connection and the family that we choose. The tragic childhood of Sabo and the desire for freedom. Sabo's backstory introduces another layer of depth to the narrative. His tragic past, marked by loss and social injustice, contrast with Luffy's and Ace's path, but ultimately leads them all to the same desire: freedom. One of the most important symbols in these chapters is the ritual of exchanging cups, which Sabo says, "If you can exchange cups, it makes you brothers no matter where we are or what we do. The bond will never be broken." This simple act is filled with significance. It represents a pact of brotherhood that transcends time, distance, and even death. An unbreakable connection that will resonate throughout throughout the series. Oda doesn't gloss over the grim realities that surround these boys. The political corruption, oppression, and the cruelty of their world are presented with stark clarity, heightening the stakes of their dreams and struggles. This grounding in real-world themes adds emotional weight and urgency to their quest for freedom. The question is already posed in chapter 587. What is freedom? And where can I find it? It serves as a thematic core of One Piece. It is a question that every major character grapples with, fueling their motivations and journeys. Throughout the eyes of ASL, we begin to understand that freedom isn't just about being a pirate or breaking the laws. It's about finding a place where one can truly live and be accepted. This exploration of freedom makes the post-war arc more than just a transitional story. It becomes a philosophical meditation almost on anatomy, choice, and the meaning of family. Ace and Goldie Roger. Reflections of a Pirate's Heart. Chapter 588 draws a powerful parallel between Ace and the legendary Goldie Roger, adding profound layers to Ace's character and destiny. Ace's pride and fierce protective nature echo the Pirate King's spirit, reinforcing his place within the grand narrative of One Piece. Ace's declaration, "Pirates are freer than anyone else in this world," encapsulates a core ideal that motivates him and defines the pirate spirit. This connection isn't just a nod to a lineage, but a thematic bridge, showing how ideals and legacies shape the new generation. Ace is simply not a son of Roger. He embodies the spirit somehow also of freedom, rebellion, and sacrifice that Roger stood for. Understanding this parallel enriches the tragedy of Ace's fate, making his death at Marineford not just a personal loss for Luffy, but a symbolic moment that shakes the entire world order. The Aftermath. A world in shock. Returning to the present, the post-war arc begins with a haunting silence. After Marineford's catastrophic battle, the execution platform is empty. The seas are eerily calm. But beneath this calm lies a world in flux, shaken to its core by the loss of Whitebeard and the shattering of old power structures. Oda, in my opinion, excels at conveying this massive shift not through large-scale battles, but through subtle environmental cues and political tension. The death of Whitebeard leaves a vacuum, sparking chaos among pirates seeking to fill the void, while the Marines tighten the control to prevent further upheaval. Meanwhile, the Revolutionary Army moves quietly in the background, signaling the gathering storm of future conflicts. This period is a masterclass of tone setting, using quiet moments, conversations, and strategic reveals to show a world trembling on the edge of a new era. It's a rare and immersive transition that grounds the story emotionally and narratively after the chaos of Marineford. And looking at the world building, the post-war arc showcases Oda's skillful world building, proving that great storytelling relies on nuance and not just action. Whitebeard's death sparks political shifts across the seas, with pirates fighting for power and the Marines tightening the control, revealed through subtle dialogue and visual cues. Oda introduces new factions and characters with precision, expanding the world without heavy exposition. The slow pacing allows you as a reader to feel the weight of Marineford's aftermath, adding depth and complexity. This arc and Marineford lay a rich foundation for future stories coming up in One Piece, making the world of One Piece feel truly alive. Luffy's low point. Humanizing the hero. At the emotional core of the post-war arc lies Luffy's journey through grief and self-doubt. Having failed to save Ace, Luffy no longer is the invisible, fearless leader we've come to admire. He is broken, physically drained, and mentally devastated. The usually vibrant and energetic captain collapses under the weight of loss and guilt, confronting a vulnerability rarely shown in shonen protagonists. Eiichiro Oda strips away Luffy's facade of confidence and bravado, allowing you as a reader to see the raw human behind the hero. Luffy's breakdown is portrayed with tenderness. Moments of exhaustion, silent despair, and trembling uncertainty fill the pages. This is beautifully echoed in Shanks' words, actually. You grow up and become a man by experiencing victory and defeat, by doing difficult things and shedding tears. In this arc, Luffy is doing just that, growing up through heartbreak. Jinbei also becomes a pillar of support during this emotional collapse, grounding Luffy with powerful words. What is gone forever. Try to remember what you still have. And in this moment, surrounded by despair, Luffy's quiet declaration resonates with profound impact. I have my crew. This marks as a turning point where grief begins to transform into purpose. The paneling in these scenes is masterfully and dynamic, capturing the emotional stakes with precision. Oda uses negative space and intricate detail to enhance the weight of the silence and the inner turmoil. Every line and pause adds to the atmosphere of loss, making the art not just a backdrop, but a vessel for feeling. The Straw Hats rally around Luffy, but the path to healing is slow and painful. This emotional realism deepens the narrative, reminding us that the heroes are not immune to pain, and that healing is a journey, not a single moment. As Shanks said, it's alright to cry, just overcome it. And Luffy, though shattered, begins to do just that. Oda's portrayal of Luffy's trauma and recovery is a standout example of nuanced storytelling in manga. Rather than resorting to over-the-top emotional outbursts, Oda chooses quiet, intimate moments to convey Luffy's pain. His sleepless nights, his nightmares, his internal conflict. This restrained approach, in my opinion, respects the reader's emotional intelligence and invites empathy rather than pity. The ASL flashbacks especially add layers to this narrative by showing the origins of Luffy's pain and the deep bonds that motivate him. These bonds provide context to his grief and illuminate the stakes of his journey. Oda also contrasts Luffy's despair with moments of hope, emphasizing resilience. The encouragement from characters like Jinbei and the future reunion with his crew reinforce themes of support, friendship, and the will to move forward. Post-Marineford Arc transcends typical shonen tropes by presenting a hero who is flawed, vulnerable, and deeply human, which makes Luffy's growth more meaningful and earned. Humor in dark times, balance and relief. Even in the emotional aftermath of Marineford, Eiichiro Oda skillfully includes humor into the post-war arc to balance the heavy themes of grief and trauma. These lighter moments don't lessen the pain, but they offer breathing room, helping both the characters and me as a reader, to be honest, to cope with the intense emotions. The humor mostly comes mainly from characters close to Luffy. Dadan, the tough but loving mountain bandit who raised Luffy, Ace, and Sabo, often shows her care through sarcasm and tough love. Her blunt jokes and rough attitude hide deep affection, making her feel like a real, caring parent figure. This adds warmth and a sense of family to the story. Vice Admiral Garp, who we now know is Luffy's grandfather, brings another kind of humor. He's both a strict marine and a soft-hearted grandfather. His loud complaints about his grandsons and the marines are funny and endearing. These moments remind us that even powerful heroes have their quirks and their soft sides. Makino, the kind bartender from Luffy's hometown, brings calm and gentle humor. Her quiet reactions to the chaos around her and her nurturing presence help bring a feeling of normal life, even during the hard times. The humor in this arc mostly comes from these close, family-like relationships. The teasing, misunderstandings, and the loving banter between characters with shared struggles help lighten the mood and show how strong their bonds are. These small moments of laughter remind me that even in pain, connection and joy matter. Oda's humor doesn't avoid grief. It shows that healing and hope can grow alongside sadness. is. However, I do have to say that Hancock's obsession with Luffy is funny, but sometimes too much in my opinion. It's nice that Oda carried it on from Amazon Lily all the way to Post-Marineford Arc, but it gets a bit on the annoying side and on my nerves sometimes. Although this point of critique, it's nice that even in moments of pain, Oda knows how to casually blend humor into it, adding light when moments of darkness are being experienced. Rebuilding bonds, family, and friendship. At its core, the post-war arc is a powerful exploration of healing through relationships, both in the restoration of personal bonds and the reaffirmation of chosen family. The trauma of Marineford leaves scars, not only to the world, but on the hearts of those who survived. It is one of the most emotionally powerful parts of One Piece, focusing on Luffy's struggle to process unimaginable loss. In the wake of Ace's death, Luffy is shattered, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. This arc becomes a turning point, where healing begins not through action, but through reflection, connection, and support from those around him. Oda highlights this through quiet, meaningful interactions. Luffy's breakdown, Jinbei's steady presence, and the support from characters like Dadan and Garp, also Hancock, and even Law. These moments show that healing isn't about pushing forward alone, but about accepting help and rediscovering purpose through others. The legacy of Whitebeard also looms large in this arc. Though he is gone, his ideals live on in those he called family. His death reshapes the world, but his influence reminds us that true power lies in the bonds people share and the values they uphold together. This reminds me of the quote that Dr. Hiriluk said all back in Drum Island arc. When do you think people die? When they are shot through the heart by bullets of a pistol? No. When they are ravaged by an incurable disease? No. When they eat a soup made of poisonous mushrooms? No. It's when they are forgotten. Oda portrays strength not as a stoic endurance, but as the courage to grieve, lean on others, and begin again with hope still in reach. One Piece, therefore, offers a powerful look at healing, both physical and emotional, as a key part of character growth. Oda shows that trauma doesn't disappear after a battle. It lingers and it shapes how characters move forward. The post-war arc focuses on rebuilding bonds, highlighting the resilience, grief, and the slow process of recovery. What makes this arc stand out is its portrayal of healing as a shared journey. The Straw Hats support each other with empathy and patience, showing that recovery often takes a community. Rather than rushing past pain, Oda respects its depth, adding emotional realism rarely seen in shonen manga in my opinion. Despite the chaos of the world, it's the strength of human connection that carries the story, reminding me that One Piece is not just about adventure, but about hope, friendship, and enduring loss together. Let me know in the comments what you think is your most memorable moment in Post-Marineford Arc. Thank you all so much for watching, and I see you all in my next video. Bye bye!